Have you heard of the woman who witnessed the resurrection of Jesus, Mary Magdalene, a figure so often mentioned, yet so often misunderstood? For centuries, her story has been shrouded in mystery, misconceptions, and even controversy. But today, we will shed light on the true journey of this extraordinary woman who stood by Jesus in his most difficult moments and was given the mission to announce the most important event in Christian faith. Imagine the courage required to defy the norms of a society that barely acknowledged the role of women. She not only followed Jesus, but was also the first to see the resurrected Christ. That's right, it wasn't the apostles, but Mary Magdalene, who received the honor of being the bearer of the message that would change the world forever. What made her so special in Jesus' eyes? What can we learn from this woman's transformation and unwavering faith? And most importantly, how can her story inspire you today to take a step of faith, even when everything seems lost? Let's dive into this journey of courage, redemption, and purpose together. Prepare to be surprised, moved, and to reflect on the impact of this story in your own life. Historical and cultural context. In the first century, in the region of Palestine, society was deeply patriarchal. Women faced significant restrictions in their public and religious participation. They were often relegated to the domestic sphere, with few opportunities for education or leadership. In this context, Mary Magdalene emerged as a notable figure. Originally from Magdala, a prosperous fishing town on the shores of the Sea of Galilee, she defied social norms by becoming a devoted follower of Jesus. The presence of Jesus brought a radical change to many women of the time. He included them in his ministry, allowing them to participate in his journeys and teachings. This attitude contrasted with the prevailing cultural practices where women were often marginalized. Mary Magdalene, in particular, stood out for her closeness to Jesus, becoming one of his most loyal disciples. Her dedication exemplifies the transformative impact Jesus had on women's lives, offering them dignity and purpose in a society that often neglected them. The inclusion of women in Jesus' circle not only challenged social norms, but also offered a new model of community based on equality and mutual respect. Mary Magdalene, alongside other women, played a crucial role in supporting Jesus' ministry, both spiritually and materially. This active participation reflects a break from the traditions of the time, signaling the beginning of a social and religious transformation that valued female contribution. Considering the historical and cultural context of the first century, Mary Magdalene's journey stands out as a powerful testimony to the capacity for personal and social transformation. Her story inspires reflections on the role of women in faith and society, encouraging a re-evaluation of cultural and religious norms that limit female participation. Mary Magdalene's life serves as an invitation to recognize and value women's contributions in building more inclusive and equitable faith communities. Identity and debunked myths. Mary Magdalene is one of the most fascinating figures of the New Testament, mentioned by name at various crucial moments in Jesus' life. However, her image has been subject to many misunderstandings over the centuries. During the 6th century, Pope Gregory the Great delivered a homily that ended up solidifying the mistaken idea that Mary Magdalene was the adulterous woman mentioned in the Gospel of Luke, or the sinner who anointed Jesus' feet. This interpretation, despite having no basis in biblical texts, persisted for centuries, unjustly marking her as a figure of moral repentance. In reality, Mary Magdalene was a deeply devoted disciple and a faithful follower of Jesus. She appears in the Gospels as a transformed woman who experienced significant spiritual liberation when healed by Jesus, an event described as the expulsion of 7 demons. Luke 8:2. This symbolizes a complete renewal, not a past of sexual sin, as many believed. This remarkable healing placed her in a prominent role among Jesus' followers, something rare for a woman in such a patriarchal society. Over time, the Church revisited this issue and sought to correct these mistaken interpretations. In 2016, Pope Francis elevated Mary Magdalene's celebration to the level of a liturgical feast, recognizing her as the Apostle of the Apostles. This title highlights her unique role as the first to witness and announce Christ's resurrection, as narrated in John 20:17-18. This honor emphasizes her importance not only in the context of Jesus' life, but also in the formation of the early church. It is impressive to observe how Mary Magdalene broke social and spiritual barriers of her time. Her closeness to Jesus and the apostles demonstrates how much she was respected and valued in an era when women rarely held positions of influence. Her constant presence during the most significant moments of Jesus' life, such as the crucifixion and resurrection, solidifies her position as one of the most prominent figures of early Christianity. By unraveling the myths surrounding Mary Magdalene, her true identity emerges as a powerful inspiration for faith and devotion. Yet her spiritual journey still holds an encounter that changed her life forever, which will be explored in the next topic. Conversion and following Jesus. Mary Magdalene's encounter with Jesus was a turning point in her life. The Gospels report that she was freed from 7 demons, Luke 8:2, an expression symbolizing profound spiritual transformation. Although we do not know the exact details of this event, it represents a complete liberation from all that bound her, physically, emotionally, or spiritually. This moment marked the beginning of an intense and dedicated faith journey where Mary Magdalene became a close and faithful follower of Jesus. From this experience, Mary Magdalene joined the circle of disciples who accompanied Jesus on his travels. She not only listened to his teachings, but also contributed practically to the ministry. The Gospel of Luke mentions that some women, including Mary Magdalene, supported him with their own resources, Luke 8:3. This material contribution is a testimony to her devotion, showing that she placed her life and possessions at the service of something greater. Moreover, Mary Magdalene did not walk alone. Along with other women, such as Joanna and Susanna, she formed a community of disciples who actively lived the gospel. This female community was a silent and transformative force, representing a break from the societal norms of the time. They showed that following Jesus was not limited by gender or social status, but was accessible to all who truly wished to walk with him. The impact of Mary Magdalene on the lives of other disciples is also noteworthy. Her personal transformation was a living example of the power of Jesus' message. Imagine the impact her story of liberation and renewal had on those around her. Her presence was a source of inspiration and strength, especially for women who may have never felt valued before. This journey of faith and dedication was not just a response to what Jesus had done for her, but also a reflection of her understanding of the meaning of living for something greater. Yet, her journey was not limited to service and listening. Moments of trial and courage awaited her, moments that would reveal the depth of her devotion. Presence at the crucifixion and burial. Mary Magdalene was present during one of the most agonizing moments of Jesus' life, his crucifixion. While many disciples fled in fear of repercussions, she remained steadfast, along with other women such as Mary, the mother of Jesus, and Mary, the wife of Clopas. Mary Magdalene stood by the cross, witnessing the suffering and death of her master, John 19:25. This courage was uncommon at a time when being associated with a condemned person could bring severe consequences. Her presence in this dark moment reveals not only her devotion, but also an extraordinary inner strength. She faced the horror of The crucifixion, a brutal and public practice, meant as a warning to those who challenged Roman power. Even in the face of such a scene of pain, Mary Magdalene demonstrated unwavering love and fidelity. Her willingness to remain there beside Jesus is a testament to her loyalty and her profound spiritual connection with him. After Jesus' death, Mary Magdalene accompanied the burial. Along with Joseph of Arimathea and Nicodemus, who took care of Jesus' body, she witnessed the moment when he was placed in the tomb. Matthew 27:59-61. Imagine the weight of this moment for her. The man who had transformed her life, who had freed her and given meaning to her existence, was now dead. Yet even amidst mourning, her presence demonstrates a desire to be close to Jesus until the very last moment. The Gospel also highlights the care that Mary Magdalene and other women took in preparing spices and perfumes to anoint Jesus' body. After the Sabbath, a gesture that evidences both their faith and humanity. Luke 23:55-56. For these women, every detail was a way of showing love and respect for the one who had touched their lives so deeply. However, what Mary Magdalene did not yet know was that her story with Jesus was far from over. The dawn of the third day would bring something that would forever transform her sorrow into joy and her mourning into hope. The first messenger of the resurrection. It was dawn on the third day after the crucifixion when Mary Magdalene went to Jesus' tomb. Her heart still bore the weight of mourning, but there was a mission: to anoint the body with spices, a final act of love and devotion. However, upon arriving, she found the tomb empty. The stone had been removed. John 20:1. Imagine the confusion and anguish that overtook her at that moment. What could have happened? Without hesitation, Mary ran to inform Peter and John. The two went to the tomb and confirmed that it was empty, but they did not fully understand what it meant. Mary, however, remained there, alone, weeping. Her heart was broken and she sought answers. It was in this moment of sorrow that a miraculous encounter occurred. Two angels appeared and asked her, "Why are you weeping?" John 20:13. Shortly after, Jesus appeared before her. At first, Mary Magdalene did not recognize him. Perhaps mourning and tears clouded her vision. But when he called her by name, Mary, her soul awakened. It was the Master, resurrected. Alive, understand the depth of this moment. For Mary, who had witnessed his death, seeing Jesus alive was more than a miracle. It was the victory of love and life over the power of death. John 20:16. Jesus then entrusted her with an extraordinary mission. He said, "Go to my brothers and say to them, I am ascending to my Father and your Father, to my God and your God." John 20:17. Mary Magdalene thus became the first witness of the resurrection and the first messenger of this event that would forever change the world's history. She ran to tell the apostles, proclaiming, "I have seen the Lord." John 20:18. This designation given to Mary is profoundly significant. In a society where a woman's testimony did not carry the same weight as a man's, Jesus chose Mary Magdalene to be the bearer of this divine message. He did not look at cultural norms, but at the heart. Mary Magdalene was called to proclaim the greatest announcement of the Christian faith, the resurrection. This role not only elevated her position in history, but also cast a powerful light on the value and dignity of women in God's plan. And now, you must be wondering how all this impacted the Christian community and Mary Magdalene's own life. This is the moment when her story begins to transcend the pages of the Gospel and echo through the centuries. Legacy and recognition. Mary Magdalene is widely recognized as one of the most inspiring and enigmatic figures in Christian tradition. Her role as the Apostle of the Apostles was formalized by the Catholic Church in 2016. when Pope Francis elevated her liturgical celebration to the same level as the apostles, with equal dignity. This decision underscored the value of her mission and highlighted the importance of female testimony in building Christian faith. Mary Magdalene's legacy extends far beyond the New Testament. For centuries, she has been revered as an example of faith, perseverance, and spiritual transformation. Her liturgical feast, celebrated on July 22nd, is an invitation to reflect on the impact of her testimony. This date was established by the Church in the early centuries of Christianity, but gained greater prominence with the official recognition of her role as the first messenger of the resurrection. Throughout history, different Christian traditions have interpreted her life in various ways. Although she was unjustly associated with a repentant sinner for many centuries, the Church has clarified this misconception. Documents such as the Roman Missal reaffirm her identity as a faithful disciple and central figure in the events of Christ's resurrection. This reinterpretation has shed more light on the true importance of her mission. In art and culture, Mary Magdalene is often depicted in moments of deep devotion, such as at the foot of the cross or in the encounter with the resurrected Christ. These representations capture the transformative power of her story. However, her relevance goes beyond images and narratives. She has become a symbol of hope and redemption, especially for those seeking to overcome spiritual or personal challenges. And today, what is the impact of this journey on people's lives? Mary Magdalene continues to inspire millions on their spiritual journeys. Her story is a reminder that spiritual transformation is possible for everyone, regardless of their circumstances. It is impossible not to wonder how her remarkable presence shaped the early Christian community and continues to shape hearts around the world. Inspiring journey of faith. Mary Magdalene's life is a testimony of faith that transcends the centuries. Her story teaches us that no one is beyond the reach of God's love and that true transformation is possible. From the moment Jesus freed her from the 7 demons to her central role as the first witness of the resurrection, she lived a journey of spiritual renewal that continues to inspire people around the world. Think of the courage required to follow Jesus at a time when women faced great social limitations. Mary Magdalene not only followed the Master, but also stood out as a leader and supporter, especially among the other women who accompanied Jesus' ministry. She demonstrated that faith is not just a belief, but a constant action, a commitment to live according to Christ's teachings, even in the face of challenges. Today, her story resonates especially with women seeking strength and purpose on their spiritual journeys. How often do we feel trapped by the past, unable to move forward? Mary Magdalene shows us that the first step is to respond to God's call, allowing Him to transform our lives. It is possible to find modern examples of people who, inspired by her, decided to embrace a new life of service, faith, and dedication. Her presence at the crucifixion, burial, and resurrection of Jesus is a powerful reminder that true faith remains firm even in moments of pain and uncertainty. Mary did not flee when many did. On the contrary, she stayed, wept, sought, and finally received the most extraordinary revelation: Jesus was alive. This example challenges us to face our own difficulties with courage and trust in divine providence. Just as Mary Magdalene, we are called to share our experiences of faith with others. Imagine how her story can inspire those struggling to find meaning or hope. Perhaps it is a kind word, a personal testimony, or even a simple gesture of compassion. Her life encourages us to act and make a difference in the world around us. But what can we learn by looking at the impact her journey had on Christian faith as a whole? How does her story connect to our own experiences? These reflections lead us to consider how to apply the lessons of her life to our daily lives and recognize that Mary Magdalene's journey continues to live in each of us. Conclusion. Now that you know the story of Mary Magdalene, a woman who moved from a past marked by shadows to become the first to witness Christ's resurrection, it's time to reflect. What does this mean for you? How can you apply this woman's courage, faith, and dedication to your own life? In the face of adversity, have you allowed yourself to live a transformative faith? Or like her, have you sought answers in the darkest hours, finding there, in an unexpected way, the light of new hope? Mary Magdalene not only saw Christ's resurrection, but taught us that even in moments of mourning, God can reveal something surprising and restorative. Now, I invite you to reflect. What is your next step in your faith journey? Perhaps it is more than a simple reflection. It could be a change, an action, a new purpose. Don't wait for tomorrow to live today with the same dedication she had in following Christ. Did you enjoy the video? If so, leave your like, subscribe to the channel, and activate notifications. Thus, we will continue together on this journey of faith and learning. May Mary Magdalene inspire your life, just as she has inspired thousands over the centuries.